Hi, how are you?
Hi, Fund. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Mhm.
So, since last time we spoke a lot about I am, and I'm sure I am has gone a long way since then. So, one thing that I noticed is a new slogan
Mhm.
that is not really new, but you started highlighting it more and more.
Mhm.
Can you tell us about it and what it means?
Yes, of course. Our old or new slogan, like you're saying, and it is just feel better. So it's very simple, and from very simple reason, I think, and we think that every person in this world is looking and finding the reason to feel better, because life is full of up and downs, and finding the reason to feel better and is something what we are looking for on a daily basis. So I can say like every minute, not every hour. And what is I am offering to just feel better is that magic and phenomenon of physical activity done on a very specific and I can say right way.
Okay. So, how do you exactly help people to just feel better?
Through slogan just feel better, we are helping people, like I mentioned previously, through physical activity training, exactly specific training. So that's the actually the main reason and trigger for us to help people how to feel better. So yes, we're talking about the individuals, but also about the corporations, which are both striving for the same goal but in a different way to improve not only like a physical health, to it's also to improve their emotional strength and confidence, and also like a professional growth.
I see. And if you want to look at it holistically, there is a term called well-being. Can you tell us what is it exactly?
Yes, to simplify, well-being is state of being happy. But because I believe happiness, and we believe it's happiness, just one spike in life, and after happiness, usually is coming sadness. So it's a way of life where you're going through through up and down. So yes, well-being, it's state of being happy by definition, but I would like to say it's a state of being fulfilled. When you're fulfilled in life, you can then absorb that stress and these downs much better than just expecting the happy moments in your life. So well-being is something what is very important, and definitely physical activity and training, it's part of it.
Okay. So it's a state of being fulfilled rather than happy.
Exactly, yeah. So by definition, well-being is state of being happy, but maybe we will add and being fulfilled. Also, there's a different types of the well-being for each person in a different way. The first one, the most important for I am, is physical well-being, where is related with the physical health itself. So how we are nurturing our body, not only body through the food and or through the hydration. Also, are we taking care about our health, how we sleep, and everything what's related with the physical health itself. Second one is usually we can put that like in order. It's like emotional well-being. So this is something what is related with something what is deep inside of us, where we are able to express ourselves or suppress when is necessary. So emotional well-being, it's also very important, something what is usually very sensitive for people. The next well-being, it's professional well-being. So that's related to our workplace with type of the job we do. Are we working and doing our dream job, or we are striving to work towards our goals professionally? The next well-being, it's a social well-being. It's related with our environment, social environment, and that environment can be different, can be stimulative or not stimulative. So doesn't matter if that is your partner, if that is your best friend, is that your relative, your parents, neighbors. So this all is considered by social well-being. And the last one, which we like to add, it's a lifestyle well-being, which is related mainly with what you do in your free time, how trying to fulfill yourself with some hobbies, type of the nutrition or type of activities you do. So that's also a very important part, which is all together part of the well-being in general.
Amazing. And do you mean that physical well-being is the core element, or is it like a part? Like if these are seven parts or six parts, so
Mm.
is it the importance of them are divided equally, or is this anything that if you focus on it, it will affect others?
So for us, like for a company who is like mainly focused on the movement itself, and that movement is a trigger for every of the aspects of the well-being. For us, the physical well-being is a trigger, the most important one, because we can guarantee through our not only our knowledge, through our experience, but through the science itself, that we can guarantee the changes in other parts of the well-being as well. So I believe that every well-being has the value, but the physical well-being for us is the most important one, and this is where change starts.
Amazing. So people join training obviously for different reasons according to your experience. And maybe one reason is to just feel better, and another reason is to avoid pain. So people would have different approaches. When do you think people start, and because we are emotional being, like when people start to worry about their health, to prioritize it really well, they decide, okay, I have to take the first step into my physical well-being. So when do you think people start to worry, start to be motivated to join?
It's quite a good question. So usually people where they feel threatened or cornered by some authority, like a doctor, physiotherapist, or like someone who is like having authority over them in that competitive way to give them, okay, you have a problem with a certain thing. So when it's about the health, it's very sensitive. So if doctor will say, well, you have a high blood pressure, we still need to start with medicine. Or physio will say, well, you have a discus hernia, probably need to go for surgery. Or nutritionist maybe will say like, well, you are in overweight zone, you need to take care about your health. Otherwise you have like other issues. This is where people feel like a triggered and a little bit like, I think cagey, because they don't know what to do. So this is a trigger for change. Sometimes, unfortunately, they're taking like let's say like maybe a late step towards that. Sometimes they're doing that on time, and some people just have a mindset to start like even before that happened, knowing that something can ruin their health. But usually when they're threatened in a way of not threatened, maybe it's the wrong word, but more like warned by some authority, which is related to the health itself.
So how does someone? I know this is a difficult question maybe, and I asked myself this question a lot. How does someone get themselves, knowing the fact that a lot of people would join or start their fitness journey when they feel threatened? But how would someone, knowing this, that hasn't been threatened yet, motivate themselves emotionally to join? Like what things they should be very, very aware about? I mean, you're an authority figure in the health industry. So what would you warn them about? Like if they don't start now, what is the consequences?
The consequences of not starting on time and being a little bit late, that everything what will happen in future will become slower and slower. So it's not, I'm not saying that change will not happen, but for example, if not you, don't get me wrong, but if you treating your body for 5 years in a quite wrong way, so I'm not saying only about the food, I'm talking about the sleep, about lifestyle, about stress management and everything that's related with the health itself, and then you expect something will change in 1 month and 2, actually that's not fair. That's not fair by the logic. So I'm not saying the same time of 5 years need to go back on a track, but definitely take time, which one of the things which I like to mention to people is like a 21-90 rule. Is it's related to like a 3 weeks, so actually 21 days. You need to start to creating the habit. So if you join to any gym or any like a concept of training, physical training, you need to give yourself chance at least 3 weeks to go through that, like at least beginning. And then this 90 means like after 3 months, we can guarantee that habit will be in your blood, in your brain, in your heart, like because you said it's also like emotionally you need to be prepared for that. So it's a journey. So this is the big difference between, coaching and training itself. So you need to go through the stages and to give the trust to that person or company or team that will guide you through that process. So you need to be first fair to yourself, and then of course be guided in the right way.
So, what would be like if someone decides to join IAM, for example? What should be the first question they should ask themselves before doing so?
The first question, what we are working around, we are asking, but also we are working around before someone join is like how you feel. So that is very simple question, but also it has so many patterns. So usually people are very easy in answering, I'm feeling, if they say I'm feeling good, they don't know how to describe it, why they're feeling good. But if they're not feeling good, they're quite easy to explain that. So the idea behind the slogan, just feel better, and what IAM is offering, we want to give people definition to know why they're feeling good. And that is after training, that's after 5 trainings, is after 7 trainings, after 3 months of training. So we can guarantee that people know why they're feeling good, or at least feeling better. Because we need to know, also be aware that people coming with the stress, coming with the issues, coming with the problems, with the challenges. But usually after training, the situation it looks like a much better in a way to position the problem better and to solve the problem better. So the first question what we're asking is how you feel.
How you feel? How you feel today?
Yes.
So you mentioned something about stress, and a lot of people see it as a negative thing. So what is it? What is exactly stress? What happens when someone gets stressed? And is stress always harmful?
Stress itself, it's a response to the challenge, to the news, to the situation, to the physical feeling as well. So it depends how we want to describe the stress. But what is very important about the stress to divide to stress in 2 types: eustress and distress. So eustress, it's positive stress, and distress, it's negative stress. Why we are saying that? Because you need to go through the certain stress to achieve your goal. Physical training itself, it's exactly that. So it is positive stress which will give you the benefit. Now, unfortunately, there's a negative stress as well, which is called distress, like I mentioned, and usually that's coming on a daily basis. So when we hear the bad news, when we lose the job, or we have fight with a friend or partner, so this is a very distress. So this negative stress is directly correlated with the health itself and the certain conditions. But eustress, the positive stress, is related with positive response, with the growth, with a lot of distribution of hormone of happiness. So the training itself is providing the positive stress response, and positive stress outcome to, of course, feel better, like we said, or actually just feel better.
Amazing. So in other words, you mean the eustress is the stress that make you grow, and the
distress
is the stress that affects you negatively health-wise.
Exactly.
How would someone basically can someone shift mindset to make both stresses eustress?
I don't think so that both stresses can be put it in one box to be like a eustress, the positive stress, because like we talk about, happiness and sadness, you need to go through that. So you need to sometimes to be pushed out of comfort zone to feel stress. So like I mentioned before, stress is a response, and it's not possible to avoid stress. So all this theories around I'm not a stressful person, I don't have a stress around me, that's impossible. The stressors are all around us. The idea behind is how to manage that, how to absorb, and to as much as possible go to the positive stress than negative stress. But it's not possible to avoid negative stress.
Definitely. I mean, from my experience, the way I deal with things, when I get negative stress, I immediately shift my mindset into this negative stress will have a positive effect on my life, because then I will challenge myself to not have it again. And then I shift my mindset to avoid feeling negative, but making it grow, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
But at the moment, it is negative, of course. You cannot.
So it depends how you absorb that. Yeah.
So a lot of people, when they start going to the doctors and doctor tell them, that you need to exercise, you need to take care of your health. This comes at a later stage in life, probably when they're starting to age. So can you talk to us a little bit about aging in general and what is it exactly?
Aging by default and definition, it's like the process of getting older. So that's something what is for some people sad. Some people are dealing in a different way through different crises. But just to make sure that to give the hope for everyone is that there's the two type of the aging as well. So there's a chronological age, which is counted by numbers, which we are all like, I'm 38 years old, but that is only like one information about me. The other part of the aging is called biological age. That is something what's happening internally in us. It's related with the biological health, with the medical health, the health of our organs, starting from the heart, liver, kidneys, of course, body fat mass, muscle mass, everything what's related, blood pressure. This is all indicators of the biological health. So it is possible to define how old are you biologically comparing with the chronologically. So for example, like I will start from myself. I am 38 years old, but by everything what I'm doing with myself, training, exercise, training regularly, eating properly, sleeping properly, my biological age, just by definition, just doing that, I already know it's less than I am old now chronologically. So that is very important for people to know. And this is more important to know about biological age, which is indicator of the health, longevity, everything what's related with our life in a positive way, but also can go in a different way. You can sometimes see people who are maybe 22 and they look like they're 32 because of the different influences of the environment, upbringing, life, stress, not good habits. So it can go in two different directions. But there's this saying about people, you look like a wine. The older you are, you look better. So that is something what we are very specific in IAM. We have a certain age group which we are hitting, which are very important. That's usually starting from 35. This is where the changes usually, you are somewhere in between because you're trying to accept you're becoming adult. You're close to the 40s. You need to define your life. Are you having partner? Do you want to have a family? Or do you don't want a family? Are you happy with your job? Do you want to start a new job? There are so many transitions happening in 35. And the good way to boost that positive vibe is to be physically active, to take care about your own health. So in IM, the certain age, which we are hitting, it usually between a 35 and 55, let's say 60. This is the age where people know what they want to do.
Yeah, amazing. One thing I learned in psychology, it's there's something called neuroplasticity, which is basically how flexible someone is to build a habit, to get over a belief, to basically it's the place that is responsible for all your beliefs, all your habits, all your society thoughts and stuff like that. And by 30, it gets rigid. So it will be plasticity, so it will be flexible, and then it will be rigid with time. And by 30 and a little bit above, it will be rigid. So it will be very, very difficult to build a habit. That's why they say if you want to build a habit, start before you're 30.
Yes.
So for people who are 35, is it too late for them?
Well, we believe it's not, and to be honest, I started looking from my example as well. So I learned also from myself how I was responding in some challenges in life when I was 15, 25 and 35. People like to divide in a 10, 20, 30, 40. I'm somewhere in between. This is where I felt that things need to be changed. And also I can see in my generation, and I can see it through all my work, more than 15 years of experience, I can see where is the trigger. What is the trigger for woman? What is the trigger for man to change something or to accept something? So everyone have different reasons, but overall, neuroplasticity, like you said, we becoming a rigid the older we are. The same happening with our muscles, with our body, with our a skeletal system, with our joints. Everything is going a little bit in a rigid stage. So you made that very good point.
there is this subject about body image, basically, how people look at ourselves and look at their body, and it's a huge reason why a lot of people, go do like surgeries to their body. They do stuff to their body, and maybe they do something positive to their body. So what is really body image, and how do you define it?
Body image, to saying in one sentence, is like a reflection of yourself. People will think maybe it's a reflection of the mirror, but yeah, it can be, but it's a reflection of yourself. And unfortunately, body image today, I think, is taking a little bit more negative consequences than positive. So body image is usually related with how people see in themselves in a certain period of time, not only looking into the mirror, but also comparing themselves with, from before, or comparing themselves with someone else, unfortunately, or creating acceptance as they are already in this stage we need to change. So what we are dealing with, and I'm seeing like also in personal, professional level with the people, is related with, first, people have that denial. So denial is related, we like to say I was. So they were something better before, in their 20s, in their 30s. So they're usually trying to reflect with the past. I was fit before, or I was exercising before, which is good for start. And the second thing, which is more negative, people start to compare. So unfortunately, there's a lot of influence of the media and social media, where people sometimes will come with the photo of some person, is that celebrity or not, and I would like to look like him or her, which is very extreme. So sometimes I am quite sharp, and I'm asking, would you like to be someone else? That's the first question. And second one is, okay, good. Just tell your family or your partner that you will not see them for some time, that you will exercise 2 times per day, that you'll commit your life to that goal. And yeah, we can then work around. People start to laugh, unfortunately, because I make the jokes, but actually I'm serious. So this comparison, it's like a little bit stressful. So usually people, that's like we describe, like I wish. The third stage is like acceptance. So we are trying to put people on the stage. Okay, this is our starting point. I don't know you from before. I know you from now. For me, you are. So the third stage, it's I am. So exactly where we are starting. And the next one is like a motivating stage, when people they know I will. So I can do that. So this is where we start to grow. And the last, the fifth stage, where people, they can see that they're doing, it's related I can. So it's a determination that I can achieve that. So people need to go through this kind of acceptance, where they are and how they can be, instead of what they've been and what they maybe want to compare themselves with who.
So do not compare yourself with, there's a quote that says, do not compare yourself to who someone else is today, but compare yourself to who you were yesterday.
Exactly. So when I'm seeing people first time, they start to show me the photos of them from the past, and from something or comparing with someone. I was like, I don't know you from before. I know you as you are now. It is good enough for me. So you need to remove some things from people's head and the brain, because it will just slow them down.
Definitely. There's this question. What is considered as an early anticipation of health, fitness, and body image?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this sounds a little bit like a sharp. Yeah, so early anticipation. That's it's also related with the biological reasons as well. It's related with the many factors. I'll mention some of them, but the first one is a genes. So many times we're hearing from people I know my genetic is like this, or my genetic is like that. Which is okay. Genetic can be sometimes going in your taking advantage, sometimes not. But genes are first a genetic is related with what is written in our genes, in our chromosomes, what we be able to do for, because we are not all talented for everything. For example, I'm left-handed, and so all my life they're telling me, oh, probably you are super intelligent, or you have some artistic abilities and everything. Well, not much, but that can be something. You can always find something in yourself. I like to write. So everyone has something specific in their genes. The second thing is related with upbringing. So upbringing is related also with the culture. So from where you're coming from. So different cultures raising kids and a different way, and they are actually confirming the genes, or they're like developing them in a different way. So if you are upbringing that you start to play with the football from 3 years old, there's a big chance that you love the sports related with the ball. That's related with our parents, with our environment and everything. The third one is related with the sensitive periods. So in every sensitive period of every child, there's a certain time when we need to develop certain skills. So we need to know when to develop the speed, when to develop coordination, when we need to develop the strength. So this is where expertise is coming. So this is also like advice for the parents. Whenever you want to engage your kids in every sport, you need to know which is the sensitive period is for each ability, which we'll talk about that later. So each ability requiring a certain sensitive period. If we miss that period for a child, then there's a big chance they will not be able to pick that up later, because our body is developing in a quite fast way. Even if we think sometimes it's slow, no, it's very fast. So there's like a few stages where it's like a very important to people know about. But and from that early anticipation, you can see where you can go, what will be your strength, what will be your area for development, because influence of the environment is very important as well. And that is something what we cannot control, but also with the self-awareness, we'll be able to pull ourselves out, or just to be part of it, which is, I'm not saying that both are right or wrong.
Yeah, so a lot of people have limiting beliefs about who they can be and they cannot be. A lot of people don't understand their potential, don't believe in their potential, don't believe that they can achieve what they want to achieve. And a lot of people identify as fat or identify as obese.
Yeah.
So that's part of who they are as a person. And it's very, very difficult to change that. Is that correct?
Yes. I mean, defining the person by how they look or by some social standards, I think it's not the right thing. I think defining person by, knowing the person itself and then start to developing something, then we can create some opinion, but not judge. Unfortunately, there is a lot of pressure from society about anything being successful, so everyone, especially about this, I have to say like a monetary standards when, everything's going around the money, then about the being fit, but going through the shortcuts, using the shortcuts, or being healthy, also using the shortcuts, and trying to look, example of social media is like no one is posting anything what is sad or when they're not looking good. Everyone trying to post their best, which is in human nature to show our best. So so maybe that's part of your answer.
So they identify them. I'm not saying we identify them. I mean, they have an idea that they are something. So they believe that they are fat. Like they judge themselves.
Okay. Yeah.
And so there's a lot of
that's related with the body image.
Yeah, exactly.
How you seeing yourself, but also are you comparing yourself with yourself, or compare yourself with someone else, or what you were or what you want to be. So
correct.
Yeah.
So what is body type and how many body types exist?
There is 3 body types or somatotypes. They're very interesting for people to, at least if they're watching this podcast, they can do like one small test. There's 3 types. There is an ectomorph, mesomorph, and endomorph. So to simplify it, and I'll show you how they can check that. It's quite simple, and I think they can discover a lot about that. So ectomorph are considered with the skinny people with quite long body parts, like long legs, long arms, and we can say skinny to describe them in a maybe simplest way. Mesomorph are going more into the muscular, a more muscular. We see they're a quite solid in their a body type, and the third one is going in a way of, we can say a obese or ability to be easier obese. So where they look more rounded. So even in this theory, there is like a certain personalities can be like related with each type, but it's not scientifically proven exactly. There is some indirect relationships, but again, let's leave that maybe for some for some other time. So based on that, what we are seeing in clients is like we can see the clear which body type they are. Sometimes they can be in between, or they can go from one to other one. So for example, I'll give example of myself. I'm mesomorph. So that means I have that ability to like gain quite nice muscle mass if I take care about myself. But if I don't care about myself, I can go to the endomorph easily. So it's like a 50-50. So in that case, I need to be quite careful. Ectomorph, for them, it's very difficult to gain the weight. This is the people who are like they can eat everything, they will not gain the weight. But for them, for their health and to like achieve some goals, they need to do specific training. For if you see the skinny person, for them it's recommended to lift the weights, to do the strength training very often, because if they want to improve their, for example, aesthetic goals or health goals. So you can see that clearly. And endomorphs are actually the most sensitive one. So endomorphs, like I imagine if possibility to gain the weight for ectomorph is 25%, and for mesomorph is 50%, and for endomorph is 75%.
Oh.
So they're very sensitive. So if they just miss one thing, they can regain or like add the weight like quite quickly. But to lose the weight, it's a journey. So it's easy to recognize this type of the people, especially like in man and woman, by the way. There's no like a big difference in that sense. You can see the narrow shoulders and wide hips. So this is something what is like a clear indication. And usually there's like a lot of like a belly fat around. Again, people can go in that directions. They can be between, but these three are the main. So if you want to know how to like figure out which body type you are, so then the first one for, if you just take your wrist to be free, and then there's a mid finger and this one, and then you can just see how you can like go around. So if you see that my fingers are like touching quite like equally, so I can go further. I cannot go further, and there's no space in between. So clearly I am mesomorph. If it's going, so you see you're mesomorph as well. If they're going across, like across each other, like passing next to each other, you're ectomorph. If they're not able to touch at all, you're endomorph. Yeah, so you're good. You're the same body type. So, but again, seeing probably like someone like in that case, you cannot just say they are like exactly that. So this test is like a good indication to see the where you are and what you need to do. So based on that, that's one of the things which we're using in our assessment to see where people are, which body type they are. So it's quite interesting for people, so they can then read about their body types.
Amazing. So speaking of body type, there is something called body composition. So what is it exactly, and why is it important?
Body composition, it was developed by years, like especially in modern age now. Body composition is like related with showing. It's like a measurement, showing the measurements of the basic components in our body related with our health, and we can say the fitness. So before it was used like a more, I'd say like the simplest method, like with the calipers checking the percentage of body fat, of the muscle mass. So now today in IM we have a specific machine where you can measure your body composition parameters. Usually what we are getting and what is the most parameters we need to know, except the height, weight, which are like a very good indication, is percentage of the muscle mass, percentage of the fat, percentage of the visceral fat, which will explain why visceral fat is like very important to know, waist-hip ratio, total body water, and we have like a certain fitness score as well, where everything is calculated at once. So these few parameters are very important. Also, one more, when we go into nutrition, is basal metabolic rate, which is related with how many calories we're spending during one day just to survive, to have like a homeostasis where everything is like under control without any extra activity. So this is very important for nutritionists. We can mention that later. But body composition itself, it's indication of your physiological parameters of your health. in percentages or kilograms. One thing what we are not implementing in our methodology and philosophy is BMI, body mass index, which is very popular worldwide and approved from World Health Organization, but we are finding that related with our training and our methodology and our results, BMI can fake the results. Why? So BMI, it's a combination between the height and weight, nothing else. So there's a certain formula for that. I will give you, for example, an example for that. If you put person which one is like overweight, drastically overweight, BMI will show they're in obese, high obesity, which is absolutely true. Then you will put very muscular person, even bodybuilder, putting under the same calculation, it will show that he's like obese and overweight, that he need to like concerned about their health. So it's very difficult to like explain. So you have someone who is having percentage of body fat of probably like a 3%, maybe even less because they're very extreme. And there's a person overweight who's having like maybe 53% of the fat. I mean, I'm just now exaggerating. And they're putting in the same scale, BMI. So this is why we found that the BMI is not relevant for our approach. Not saying that's not good enough, but in general for our methodology, we're not using. So we are more concerned about body fat mass and muscle mass.
Amazing. So speaking of this, let's talk about weight loss. And before, what is statement? Do you want to mention any statement or?
Yes. What I like to say to people, and in general, even normal conversation people, that one of the rare things in life in general, which you cannot buy, you cannot corrupt, you cannot cheat, is to be fit, healthy, and strong. There is no chance you can buy that. Even in today's world, you can buy so many things, but this one you can buy. You need to earn it. You need to earn it every day, because there is no price for it. It is related with your dedication, with the mindset, and your discipline. There's not many things you can like use, except these three things. So this is what people need to remember, like whatever they're trying and not happy with their goals or maybe with their achievements, there's always, you can do do more. You can always do more and just keep going, never give up.
Amazing. So regarding weight loss, if you want to talk about it, I'll ask you the questions of a lot of people, try to buy weight loss. Yeah. Some people use surgeries, some people use supplements, some people use injections. There's very common right now injections for diabetes that people are using, especially here in the region. It's getting quite famous. A lot of people are using. I know doctors use them. Some people. So why is it bad for us? Why do you not recommend someone to do it if you don't?
But first of all, weight loss is not some kind of like a magic formula for people to be healthier or to be stronger, to be fitter, or to be happier. Unfortunately, that's not the formula. And saying, okay, if I lose the weight, I will feel better. There's no guarantee for that. So yes, I think you guessed my answer already. So we are trying to avoid any kind of compensative or compensation method of losing weight itself. Losing weight is just a process of that. So using tablets, using surgeries, using injections, using supplements, everything what's related, you are just compensating something what you're not able to achieve with your own lifestyle, with your own commitment, discipline, and determination towards someone's goal. Unfortunately, I need to be very sharp about this. That is the truth. So whenever people want to go for some kind of help or like to speed up the process of the weight loss, unfortunately, it's coming back. It's coming back like yo-yo effect with extreme diets. So everything what you're doing around that, it's a process. Like I said in the beginning, if you're treating your body for 5 years, like a very wrong way and against yourself, and then expecting everything to change in 1 month or 2 months. Sometimes people expecting even less. That is impossible. That is impossible. It's not fair. It's just by the math, by logic, it's not fair. It's not possible. So people need to be aware of that and to admit where they are in a certain moment and start to building up from that. So any supplement, again, any injection, anything what's related with any kind of treatment, it will come back if you don't continue to take care about yourself. So treating and continue with the same habits and expecting something to change overnight, it's not possible. Unfortunately, not possible. So if people are listening this, I'm not giving too much hope about this. So except just, start to working very hard. And people, unfortunately, don't like to work very hard when it's about their own health. Usually they are sometimes acknowledging their health is bad when it's already too late or where they're not anymore motivated. So then everything's going down. So unfortunately, that's the thing when with a lot of promises that something will work, and so many things can be failed then.
So I noticed that you are very sharp about this. When one time you told me about a client that you were working with, and then they did a surgery, and you told them, after the surgery, I'm not going to train you again.
Yes. Yeah. I remember that story. Yeah. Yeah. I was having a client, of course, I'm not mentioning the name. I will not mention the gender, of course. So that client lost, I don't like to talk about losing weight itself, because for me, that's just one part of the full picture. But her goal, I said gender, sorry. That's okay. So her goal was to lose the weight. So we did like a quite nice result, 2 months, 7 kilograms. So that was quite good, because what we recommend people, if they're thinking about losing weight, which is something what we're trying to explain why and how, around up to 4 kg per month, we consider that healthy. Everything above that, there is something extreme happening, like you mentioned, or is it supplement, or is that injection or some kind of treatment. So up to 4 kg is something we consider. So that means 1 kg per week, to simplify. So she told me that she would like to do the surgery. I was trying to say, no, don't do that. Don't do that for your own health. It will come back to you. Don't do that. So giving so many reasons. And I saw there's no way. She was already she already booked everything. She will do that. So I was like, okay, but just need to be clear with you. When you do that, and if you do that, I will not be anymore your coach. Which she didn't believe. Of course, she was like, why, how you can give up from the client, And actually, I was not giving up. I was just having a very straightforward, principles, which I need to look forward. And she did surgery. They removed some extra like a fat mass, which was okay. She called me. I said, I'm sorry, I cannot be your coach. So I refer her to someone else. So that's it.
Why though?
Because it is against the principle. So that, for me, that's indication that she was not able to push herself. She was not able to be motivated. Even maybe I was not able to motivate her enough, but she was not able. She was trying to find a shortcut. And I didn't see her for some time, but I heard from some people that she regained everything. So unfortunately, that's sad, true, but it's also about the principles. And in this industry, in the fitness industry, in Dubai and the worldwide, there is so many things which are selling, and people will do everything for sales. But drawing the line, saying I don't want to respect. I respect more in others and also in myself, instead of saying yes. So saying no, sometimes it's much bigger than saying yes.
Yeah, of course. So what are the excuses that people use sometimes to justify weight loss, or why they're not losing the weight?
The one with the most common one the most common health weight loss statements where people using actually excuses is of course, I'm going for vacation and I need to lose 10 kg in 2 months, or I have a wedding, which is quite common, more for I think more for women. I have a wedding, I want to lose some weight. Then there's like a different kind of related with like, you know, even opposite way. People like think, you know, if someone is too skinny, they don't need to like, you know, exercise. That's more related with the lifestyle, but usually people using different kind of, or for example, I will start from next Monday. You know, that's quite common even in Europe. I believe here, I'm from Monday I will start to go. Or one like maybe the most interesting one, which we are getting is like we'll do, for example, assessment, or I will have like some kind of call referral that the people will say, let me just lose like a few more kg, then I will join to the training. I was like, this is not working like that. So there's a many different kind of, and unfortunately people like to find excuse for something, but nothing taking for the long term. So the long term is related with also with education of the client, where coach or company need to explain, educate the client why something is important, instead of just saying, okay, we have a time till September to lose the, I know, 10 kg. We just focus on that. And what after that? There's no plan, there's nothing. So it is from both sides. It's about the person itself as someone who is offering that service as well.
So a lot of people do care about weight loss. I mean, this is especially in this day and age, it's becoming an epidemic. So a lot of people are overweight. A lot of people are struggling with this. Why do you think, like, what does weight loss mean to people exactly? Why is this trend around it? And is weight loss like overrated or underrated, or what does it really mean to people?
Yeah, weight loss is overrated in general, and literally the weight loss should not be the goal itself. Something else needs to happen related to weight loss. It's body recomposition, and that is the part where, you know, expertise need to come, and also educational part for people to understand why weight loss, it's not that important. So the weight loss, it's a trend, you know. So if you open any ad everywhere on internet, or like even on a TV, and every ad, they will mention weight loss, weight loss, weight loss. Can I just ask you one question? What do you think? Does animals have a problem with the weight loss?
No, they
or
don't.
like our overweight? You see, that's a simple thing, or simple answer. So because they're eating everything and the way how they're supposed to be, what is given by the nature, what is given in a way that, you know, they know when they're full. But for us, like a humans, we have a lot of choices of the food, lot of processed food. We're distracted with so many things. I think yesterday I was reading one article. It's saying that people who are watching the phone while eating, or TV, distracted by eating, doesn't matter if they're stressed or not stressed, they're eating 10% more calories than not eating. So that's like a huge science behind, and researches. So 10% we eating more calories, just 10%. They put like an average. So that means people going above than just eating in a piece, chewing, and just focusing what you're eating. So imagine there's no animal who's watching TV and for example eating. So there's so many things which are distracting, and of course there's so many reasons. The one of them it's a media, and I can say, I don't want to say like a social media in general, media, because this trend is it's like quite a long time about weight loss. Now we can see the videos from people in 70s and 60s who be like a super fit. How come? What's the difference? What is changed? But unfortunately, obesity was tripled since, I think, 976, tripled. So that means like that's very scary part. And the scariest part of that is that our children are like going like in that stage. So media, social media, yes, one of the first things, because this educational part, it's not supported enough by experts. And one of the like a very like important part, it is of course like a medical reasons, because we know the strength of the medical industry, but unfortunately I think medical industry sometimes trying to like take the shortcut instead of going for like a long process, because of course it's a business in the end, and unfortunately that's something what is also sad truth about some parts of the medical industry.
So you mentioned something about body recomposition.
Mm-hmm.
What is that exactly? What is the difference between body recomposition and weight loss?
Body recomposition or body restructuring, we like to say that because that's related with something very simple. So the idea of any goal of the person who wants to take care about their health, to look fitter, to not only look fit, to feel stronger, to look fitter and be healthy, is to reduce the fat mass, to increase the muscle mass. So this is called a recomposition, because weight loss can mean many things. So we talk about some of the clients. So I think few months ago, I got another very interesting observation from one of the client. She was having a problem with the stomach, so diarrhea, and after 3-4 days not exercising, being just in bed, her statement was well, at least I lost 3-4 kg, because that's good. I was like, no, that's not good. So you see that she lost a 3-4 kg for what? Because she was sick. That's completely a wrong observation of it. So sometimes people don't know what weight loss can be. So it can be related with some minor diseases to some major diseases. But body recomposition is directly correlated with the physical activity, with the sleep, with the nutrition, with the hydration, and of course, stress management. So body recomposition from the point of health, it's much more beneficial than losing weight itself.
Yeah. So it seems that, body recomposition is the healthy way to lose, basically, to lose the weight, or it's not about losing weight, it's about reconstructing or restructuring your body.
Yes, exactly.
And this, what you said about the client, a lot of people say the same.
Yeah,
and
unfortunately.
Especially during COVID, during COVID.
That's not, it's a man, woman, everyone have their own perception, because the number is saying there that you dropped 3-4 kg, and that is the rule. That's okay, that's a law, perfect. Which is unfortunately, wrong perception.
Yeah. So do you want to mention any statement about weight loss?
Yes, because like I mentioned, I like to say weight loss can be the health loss as well. So people need to consider that. But related with one example, I want to explain people why body recomposition is very important. If you can compare this bottle, let's say for gender, this is 1 kilogram of the fat tissue, and we need 1 kilogram of the muscle mass, and that's exactly looking like this. So what they're trying to explain to the people, that the muscle mass itself, it's having more density, it's more dense. So when you reduce this amount for this amount, how you will look like? You will look like you lost 10 kg, which was your primary goal, but actually lost just 5, because you increased the muscle mass, you look fitter than ever, and you dropped your fat mass. So this is what's happening by default with the right approach to training.
Right. So what about fat? Can we talk a little bit more about it? I mean, there is muscles and weight loss, but so what do we know right now about the fat mass in the human body? You mentioned it's a lot bigger than the muscle mass. So
Size-wise, yeah. The fat mass is giving us the biggest amount of energy, the biggest one, and that is something what we need to consider like a fuel. Also, there's different roles of the fat mass itself, because they're having protective role. Of course, they're regulating our temperature as well of our body. Also, when percentage of body fat mass cross certain line, it can go damage. That can damage our health. There's a different type of the fats in our body, but overall, what we are concerned the most, it's a visceral fat. So the fat which are people having around the certain areas, about, for example, around the arms, around the legs, around the glutes, it's one type of the fat which we're not considering like then dangerous because it can be mixed with the water, with the like little bit retention and with so many things. But the most concerned fat it's around the waist, around the, it's called like a, people say like a belly fat, but we call it a visceral fat. That's the fat around the organs. And this is where problems can start, because usually every problem starting from the gut itself, from the intestine, from the organs itself. So I don't like to say it's only nutrition, because it's a combination of so many things we need to take care about. So in our scale, we can see where people crossing that line. So when we measure that line of the visceral fat is like a high, we are quite serious people saying you are a little bit in danger zone for your own health. Maybe you don't have anything now, but tendency to have something what can damage yourself is like getting percentage getting higher. So the fat mass itself, I like to use it like a source of the energy, because the fat mass itself, there's a way to use the fat like energy. So if you move with certain intensity, if you're doing exercise certain intensity, and after certain period of time, fat can be used. So that is probably maybe the answer, maybe where I would like to stop, and because there's much more to say, but I don't want to skip some informations.
Yeah, so feel free, of course. But you mentioned how dangerous is the visceral fat is.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you go around burning that?
Mm-hmm. So an interesting fact about burning fat in general, if you ask any person where the burn fat is going, so people think, oh, it's going to the muscle, or going this, going there, going through the sweat. So it's scientifically proven that muscle, actually the 1 kilogram of the fat, around 84% is going through the exhalation, through the breathing. So carbon to the carbon dioxide, 84%.
84%
of 1 kilo of the fat. Only 16% is going through the sweat, through the urine, through the this kind of like a very small, like a very small, like how to say, processes. So, but 84 going through the breathing exhalation.
So it's literally burning.
Literally, you're burning the fat.
And
It's going out. Yes. So, but just saying that, it's not enough, because people think, oh, okay, I would just now breathe and then burn the fat, of course. Yeah. So this is this is not working. So for burning the fat itself, there's a certain laws and there are certain rules we need to like a control. For example, you need around 15 to 20 minutes to activate the fat cells to start to burning. Breathing itself should not be through the hyperventilation, should be controlled exhale, inhale. So certain activities can be very helpful. Of course, like a training, it's always something what we always recommend to the people. But if people want to do it something on their own, what we are, for example, giving like a homework to our clients, we are calculating their zones where they're burning the fat. Because for burning the fat, there's a certain zones, there's a certain heart rate they need to use, certain intensity for certain purpose. So we can give people homework how they can use it for a certain period of time, of course. But overall, yes, that means that people who are physically active, they can use the fat like a primary source of energy. This is what people need to know. It is possible.
So they use the fat as the energy to exercise.
Exactly.
And then through their breathing during the exercise, they will burn the fat.
Yes, exactly. Okay. Yes. It's going through the carbon dioxide. Yeah.
And you mentioned something related to 10 to 20 minutes to ignite these fat cells to start burning.
Yeah. So because it's you need something what will trigger the fat. So to get burned. So usually that can be maybe the carbs, carbohydrates in our body. That's the first thing. Then if you switch gradually in a certain intensity, then the fat will start to be activated. So it cannot jump from one to another one. So it's a little bit process. So you need to something to lighten up this process, and then it's going smoothly. Again, if you cross certain intensity of the activities that a walking training, strength training, anything, you can start to burning the muscles. So this is one of the things why people like to use the proteins, because proteins are building the muscle mass. They're one of the chains which are creating the muscle mass. So this is why people like to take supplement with the protein after training because they crossed the line of the burning fat. So they went in the phase of burning the proteins, actually, let's say burning the muscles. So this is why I like to put that protein back, and through the process of which is called supercompensation, after 24 to 48 hours, we are regaining more than we had before in terms of muscle mass.
Oh, okay. So can you really burn specific parts of fat?
Unfortunately, no. Unfortunately, no.
But there's these belts that you can put.
Yeah, of course. There's a very, very simple explanation about that, how we're trying to explain to people the area where you gain the fat the first, you lose that in the end. So this is how body is working. So doing some thousand of the crunches or putting these belts and everything, it will not help it a lot. So with this sauna belt and everything, you can just lose a lot of water, which can reduce the volume of your waist. But then when you just rehydrate yourself after that, you will go back in the same. Because I was witnessing some people doing that. One client was wearing this belt, the male client, and while training, but the purpose was that it was he was feeling more comfortable because of his back. And I was I allowed that training because it's against my principles, but I allowed it. And he sweat a lot, of course. He went home, he did he came up sudden scale, oh my God, lost 2 kg for training, something a lot. And I was okay, just rehydrate yourself, drink water, and let me know in 3 hours how that will be. He just regained everything in the same. So unfortunately, it's nice to have that feeling, but very short period of time.
Yeah.
So there is no specific. So whatever you're doing specific, there's no science behind. If it's like that, people just do one thing for all the time. So everything is related. Where you gain the first, you lose that in the end.
So it seems to me that the weight scale itself is useless.
Yeah. Well, it's a good indicator, but not the main one. So we are really encouraging people, and we want really to encourage people not be obsessed with the losing weight. Don't be obsessed with losing weight, because that's just one part of it. The main idea should be to gain the muscle mass as much as possible and to reduce the fat mass as much as possible. So when I say as much as possible, so we know that we have something what's called the homeostasis in our body, where everything is functioning in a way for us to survive. There's a certain body temperature, there's a certain pH levels we need to have in our body. If something changes of this, we are going in a dangerous state. The same about the fat mass and muscle mass, especially about the fat. So we cannot go very low because it will become unhealthy. But also we can go too high because it felt unhealthy. So the idea behind this theory of muscle mass, we can talk about numbers, but usually for a man, the muscle mass should not drop under 9%. If you talk about percentage in general, because the numbers are rounded, depends. For women, it's not less like a 15, because by nature, a woman having a more fat and less muscle mass than man. By nature given. So the numbers are different, but again, we need to be very careful where is that sweet spot.
Yeah. So you talked a lot about the relationship between fat mass and muscle mass and the size. Is there any other correlation or?
Yeah. So the one with the most important relationship between body fat and fat mass is that muscle mass is having a faster, or I can say a higher metabolism than fat. So to simplify for people to understand what people saying, my muscles are burning the fat. So if you translate it through the science, you can describe that, because the bigger metabolism and the faster metabolism of the muscles can burn more fat. So the more muscle mass you have, you will burn more fat. It's simple as that. So these two processes are very correlated, but what people need to know, that is related with the physical activity a lot. So it's not only related with nutrition, it's not only related for you just go out to walk, so you need to focus on training. So when we talk about training, we talk about strength training. So you need to do strength exercises. not to like destroy yourself and go to the failure, but to go to the something where you can feel a little bit discomfort, at least close to the technical failure, we call that, and to like build that muscle mass in a way that will create hypertrophy. Hypertrophy, it is increased size of the muscle fibers itself. Also, there's one more term. It's called like hyperplasia. That is related with the number of muscle fibers are like increasing. There's no lot of science behind the hyperplasia. Some researchers saying that actually you can increase also number of muscle fibers, but hypertrophy is something what we're looking for, and where usually man likes to see the hypertrophy of the muscle mass, and women are afraid of the hypertrophy. But again, it's not possible to like have the same muscle size for men and women even doing the same exercises. So the idea behind the body fat mass and the muscle mass is that more muscle mass can burn more fat by logic and default, created, of course, supported with the medical researchers and science.
So basically, when you are building more muscles mass, you are technically building a machine that burns fat more.
Exactly, and automatically you're spending more energy. So to go a little bit into the science, but for people to understand, so the idea behind, if you ever heard about cross section. So when you do the cross section of the muscle, this is more like a physiology. The bigger cross section is, there's a more force and more strength in that muscle by theory, and also practice as well. So this is why we are exercising. We need to increase the cross section, and then that will give us more ability to spend more energy and to lift more weights or whatever is the goal of the certain. So the bigger muscle it is, it can spend more energy, it can burn more fat.
I see. So which activities and routines promote fat burning?
Like I mentioned, recently, one of the activities which can create fat burning and increasing the muscle mass is definitely strength training. When I say strength training, people correlating that everything what they need to lift heavy on a certain way, it will promote that. Yes and no. The idea behind strength training, you need to do a specific strength training. Just sitting in the machine and doing some chest presses for 15-20 times, it can assist, but also you are isolating one muscle group and allowing your body just to spend certain amount of the energy and calories, if we talk about that. But if you do the push-up, which is a more challenging, even you can modify push-up for someone who is struggling with that, you will spend much more energy because you're using more body parts. So we talk about functionality of training. So the better quality of exercise you do, you will spend more calories and you will be able to burn more fat in that case. But again, we talk about strength training. We're not talking about some activities jumping jacks or something what is very popular. So we're talking about strength training done in the right way. So one of the most important strength training, of course, there is a science behind cardiovascular activities, especially being in an aerobic zone. Aerobic zone means that our heart rate and our intensity is in the zone where we're using the oxygen also like a support. And with the presence of oxygen, we are able to burn more fat as well. If we're going in anaerobic zone, that's a zone without the oxygen, which is considered that we are not, for example, if you're walking and you're not able to talk at all and you're taking your breath, you're hyperventilating, you're in anaerobic zone because there's enough oxygen. But if you're able to walk with the like brisk intensity, you're able to chat, not much, but still able to take the breath and control that you can do it for a long period of time. This is when you're in aerobic zone. These two zones we are measuring with the heart rate as well, but also you can measure through different methods. But easiest for people to understand is through the heart rate.
So, is there any relationship between what we talked about earlier, which is stress, and this particular thing about fat?
Yes, there is a big relationship between the stress and body fat. The stress itself is something like we said, it's response earlier, and response towards the environment, physical pain, or some kind of emotional pain as well. one of the first stressors and hormones who respond in stress, it's a cortisol. So cortisol is a hormone who is like a protecting us from the stress. So he need to like increase his reaction after respond to the stress. The beauty and I can say the curse of the cortisol is that he can help. For example, when we talk about the training, when you stimulate your body physical activity, he can help in losing the burning the fat itself. He can be quite helpful. But when we cross the limit, when you're overstressing your body with some extreme exercises or extreme situations, we can say, the cortisol itself is trying to protect us, collecting the fat around the belly and creating the bigger amount of the visceral fat. Because he's storing the energy. Like we said, the fat is energy. He's storing the energy and the where to protect the organs as much as possible. And then, of course, it can go above the level. So if you see sometimes people who are like struggling, to, for example, just lose the weight around the belly, the stress can be the reason, overworking cortisol. So because we have a partnership with a few clinics and experts, so sometimes we send people to check their cortisol level to see if they have like a quite spikes, big spikes, or they have like don't have any kind of reaction. So there's a different kind of things, and we can then assist them to like prevent that better. But sometimes stress can be the problem for example, especially around like the belly fat.
So if someone wants to lose fat, there's a lot of things they should do, or they should avoid. They avoid stress. They avoid.
Yes, or just go to do like some injection or surgery.
So yeah, it's really like you can, from what you're saying, fat loss is directly related to well-being. So if you're not taking care of your well-being overall, especially the emotional well-beings also and physical well-being, then you will not, and everything and lifestyle well-being, you're not gonna be able to achieve constant physical health, which is low fat percentage and stuff like that.
Yeah. So the beauty of everything, because everything is connected, but we try to like educate people that everything is related with each other, because IAM is about physical health, which we are talking about the training itself, about you can say about muscle mass, and you mentioned body fat. Yes, that can be part of it, but also there's emotional, this kind of strength where seeing yourself in the mirror, that you are looking better, and that you look healthy, that the color of your face looks like a healthy, and that you're moving better without the pain, is giving you certain confidence to feel emotionally good and to be challenged in some situation in your life, in your personal life, is you absorbing that stress better. You know how to, okay, if I go for training now, like for example with someone, I know I feel better after that. So you finding that sense. And of course, work, when you say like a professional confidence, it's related with just that you are physically feeling good, and emotionally you're stable, able to absorb it. Of course, you show that at your work and people see that. So we saw really dramatic changes in people when they're like literally how they're like being fitter, they're progressing in every part of their life, from the finding the partners, having the family, through the growing in their job. So this is the beauty, what people need to understand, where IAM is standing for. It's not only, okay, you come to us, you lose the weight. That's really like the minor thing with everything what you can get.
Yeah, I mean, one of examples, personal examples, I had took a healthier lifestyle, and I started playing sports, and I started exercising and all of that, and I achieved fat loss, and that I was comfortable with, and that directly was related to me scaling up my business and doing a workshop with 70 people, only because my confidence increased and belief in myself increased, and that affected a lot of parts of my life.
It's quite simple, yeah. If you look from that perspective, because you can see it from your angle,
Do you have a statement you want to talk about regarding fat loss and stress?
Usually, like from everything what we are talking, so the fat loss can be the stress cause as well. So you can create like a both things. You can achieve that, like a drop the fat if you are committed to everything what we talk about well-being, or you can just let it go, and you'll see just being stressed you can gain the fat, not only from the food, not only from lack of sleep. You can gain the fat mass from anything what is negative for you and your well-being. You can go in negative ways. So people need to choose where they want to go, and the choice is on them. We are here to explain them what is good for them, what is bad for them.